Hey everyone, welcome to the show. So I know the title is again using HyperVoice to build HyperVoice. HyperVoice is pretty much built, but I want to build other cool stuff. So what we're going to be doing tonight, or continuing tonight, is Claude Connect. I've called it Claude Connect for now. It will obviously change, but essentially what it is, it's a view into Claude code. Specifically Claude Code, and only for Claude Code, at least for now. Um, I have also converted it into a desktop application, so you can install it, run it, and hopefully be doing some very cool stuff inside of this. So I've converted it into a desktop application. I have also added, since last time, a resize option for our notes on the right-hand side. And then with these notes, you can actually mark them as completed, and you can add a new note. You can add a new note called test that gets added to the bottom, and you can delete that. Top right, what we've done is we've got the task list, and these are the tasks from Claude Code. I think they've disappeared. But what we can do now is we can actually click on a task and view information about the task that Claude has created itself and working on itself. Okay, so we can also jump to that task in chat as well. So let's just go on to the latest. What we've also done is we've added in something very, very cool at the bottom of the application. I think you can see it on stream, and that is a timeline. So as you use Claude Code, what happens is we prompt Claude Code to do things. Claude Code then goes and does things. But quite often, if you have a look at the right-hand side here, we send messages to Claude Code does things, and it just ends up being a massive wall of text, right? So we have no idea what the messages are that get lost in all of this. File changes happen in this somewhere as well. Yeah, so there's some file changes up there. Okay, so file changes were here. But what you can do is in the timeline, we can actually have a look at something and see the markers. The markers are important things that we've decided to track and keep track of. Okay, so in this case, it's been a file change. So you can click on this, so it's an agent task and a redaction, at least for this one. So if we do click on this, it actually takes us to the message or the message that was changed or that marker belongs to. If we do have a look at the one on the right, here we've got two markers, agent send and redaction as well. If we do have a look for the last 50 minutes, we get some different colors one. There's a redaction that was done there. So the redaction is essentially, I don't want to expose my keys, my API keys and secrets to anybody who is viewing me using Claude Code and doing vibe coding on the web. If you're doing vibe coding on the web, then on YouTube or on Twitch or wherever it is, the last thing you ever want is for the API keys or secrets to be exposed. You don't want that. So part of what Claude Connect does, its name will change later, is it redacts things like keys. Keys, usernames, email addresses, well, maybe not usernames 100% accurately, but email addresses, things like that, it actually redacts and displays something like here. We can say an ID there was redacted. Okay. Here we can have a look here. There are file writes that were done, so it changes to files, and that's it there. So what we can also do is inside of settings, we can automatically or always expand diffs. Okay. So if we go to another file write, click on that, and here we can actually see the diff. What I've also introduced is the ability to expand to full screen. So if we expand this to full screen, we can actually see all of the changes that were there, that were made there. So if we go to this one, expand full screen, you can see everything here. That's pretty cool. Let's jump to the latest, click on that. So what is also working better is as you scroll up on the Claude chat, it actually scrolls up accurately on the message that you send. So I might have said something, a while ago. So if we do click on a task, what information can we display in a modal? This was relating to the task list at the top right. So I might want to have a look at what Claude responded for that message, where if I now need to do this on the right-hand side, it's not fun. Anybody who's used Claude knows that you've now got to try and scroll up and figure out where that message was. It's not fun. So you just click on this, and in the middle, you've got all of your information. Remember, there are hotkeys. You can press the letter T. You can press the letter T to show and hide the task list. Press space to kill the screen completely in case something happens or you need to do that. And then I think one of the things that I do need to do is stop the user chat from expanding as well. It should really only be the Claude chat that expands. Right. And then in the task list at the bottom, you can show and hide things as well. So you can show and hide different types of markers inside of that. So what we have just implemented, and it's completely untested so far, is I want to be able to send a message to Claude Code from within Claude Connect, which would mean that I can get rid of that completely. Let's also get rid of HyperVoice, analyze that. Get rid of this completely and work entirely within Claude Connect. That would be pretty cool. Because essentially what's happening at the moment is I'm still adding my messages to Claude Code. That then gets reflected on the left here inside of Claude Connect. And then all of the feedback from Claude Code gets shown inside of Claude Connect. Why can't I just send a message from within Claude Connect? So there will be other things. So does that change line status? So dragging and dropping images and at commands as well. So at, okay. So we do need to cater for a few things. So / yeah, I need to figure out certain things like that. But once I think you've got Claude Code set up the way you want to set up, you're quite happy more often than not in just sending through messages. Okay, so we do need to test this. So how do I test sending a message to Claude Code from Claude Connect? Okay, so that comes up on the left-hand side. Session is lined with another terminal. Exit that Claude first, where a message may not land in the same thread. So Claude Code writes out to certain files. And what it's saying now is that if I send a message from Claude Connect, it's going to overwrite that same file, and they'll both be competing for the same file. Just a short string today. They'll be competing for the same file, and I don't really want it to do that. So I'm expecting this to say I just need to close the session, exit the session, and then continue inside of Claude Connect. That's what I'm expecting. Okay, so here's the step-by-step. Make sure it's how you finish your building. Pick which session to target, either a different session, recommended for a first test. You do one of your older sessions with another project, you can try that. You can do, what are these? All right. Don't want that, don't want that, don't want that. I mean, Python on could have been quite cool. Okay, so let's say, tell me a joke. What should have now is on the left-hand side, this should be a message from now 2248. This is right. So we're exiting the session. This hasn't picked it up yet. Tell me a joke that is tell me a limerick. Let's say, tell me a limerick. Tell me a limerick. So failed to spawn Claude. Here the directory name is invalid, or is in Claude code suite. Okay. So that is an issue. I tried this from within another session. That's on another tab, the jokes tab. Okay, so my webcam is quite far away, and I'm using the microphone from my webcam for HyperVoice. So that's why it's not picking up perfectly. Obviously, the closer your mic is to your mouth and the better quality your mic is, it's just going to do so much better. Okay, so I think the question is Windows error, blah, blah, blah. I can actually come back here. Okay, that took a while. Okay, Windows error 267 and valid current directory. The sessions project path in the database is either missing or points to a path that doesn't exist. Finding the joke sessions project path is their user. That's the redacted version. The piano refactor scrubbed your real. Because it's a desktop app and because it needs to recompile quite regularly, that's why it just suddenly dies. Let's keep changes for the last 5 minutes. Yeah, so it does restart quite often and quite regularly. So what I'm hoping to achieve, at least for the end of the session, is to be able to send a message inside of Claude Connect to Claude Code, and it goes and does things. And my Claude Code session in CMD or partial on the right-hand side shouldn't be needed. Again, at least is the goal. Yes, I could have a more exciting background as well. And just a gray canvas. Okay. See, now, another great thing about Claude Connect is I can actually hide things. Like at the moment, I'm not really concerned about the changes that it makes in terms of file rights. I care more about the messages to and from Claude code at the moment. I think at some stage I do need to start paying more attention to the code that's actually being changed. But I think at the moment, because Claude code actually does really quite well, I'm not too concerned about it. It has done well. Whole session, here, lead role. Okay, text changes. Migration, lead column, sessions are project path text. Okay, caveats about your existing joke session. And here you can see the uses my name, what's your date for that. Caveats about your existing joke session. It was created before this migration, so its raw project path is null. The fallback will stay. We'll still try the scrubbed series. Okay, to get it working for the session specifically, you have 2 options. Let's start up a new folder. The new folder jokes. It's that start it up, see that, and run Claude. Tell me a joke. That should start something up in Claude Connect. Here we go. I have just created a new jokes session. Can you confirm that this folder has been saved? So I'm expecting it to say yes, the folder has been saved. Here, the scrolling when you swap back to a tab, and start going through all of the scrolls for everything. Maybe just skip automatically to where it should be. So if you were on the latest one, it should skip to the very bottom. If you were on one that was already pre-selected, when you come back to it, it should just stay there instead of always going to the bottom. Confirmed migration, mainnet and schema, blah, blah, blah. The older join session got a raw path populated as that. That's because its JSON was re-ingested and the touch session told the previously null raw column. Send prompt. Okay. Tell me a very short poem. Okay, there we go. Okay. When I close down a session in terminal, such as CMD or PowerShell, does the warning disappear when it says session is live in another terminal? Does that automatically clear as soon as the session is closed in CMD or PowerShell? Because it would be very cool if that just automatically picks it up and realized that, yes, terminal has been closed and you're now free to actually talk. Maybe what you should do is even just block input completely. Understand some node. Let's come back here. Yeah, that needs to be fixed up. Okay, honest answer, no, not automatically. The warning is computed during React render. That value only reevaluates when a component re-renders. It's usually self one need to make it auto clear with 5-second tick. I would like it to be instant. How can you make it instant without affecting memory links and things like that? Yes. This one, I do still have the session open, actually. It's what I meant, but yes, already. Yeah, so we're thinking at the moment, you can see here that there are some things that were redacted. We can see here that there are some file changes. We can can't select a node. You can select a node and then press the F key to make it full screen on the edits instead of having to actually just click that expand. Okay, edits there. Jump to latest. And this was to my piece. So agents and skills. So if we do expand sub agents and skills, what was in that? Send prompt feature, async agent launched successfully. Okay. And 561 more characters. Redaction as well there. Okay, jump to latest. Okay. So question is, I want it to be instant. So as soon as the session closes in core code, this message disappears and we should actually lock down that bar at the bottom. I also want that bar to auto size depending on how much content there is. Clean architecture for instant without links is one shared backend timer that pushes state-wide events, never a front-end timer per session, never a polling loop architecture, blah, blah, blah. Why this is link safe, fantastic, latency less than 1 second. One needs to build it. Yes, go ahead. Okay. But you are getting built a bit between us. Right. Okay. I don't know whether doing markers across all time is a good idea. Is there an entire set of history, as well as every single tool call message back from called code needs to be stored inside of this application. Let's check and have a look. All. Okay, so that's where. So I was just wondering why it shifted across. So when I click on all, the filter and everything shifts across a little bit. If I go back to 5 minutes, it goes back. And that's just because of the triple digit numbers there. Yeah, I guess that's fine. It's fine for now. We'll see. If you'd like to change, let me know. Drop a comment in the chat below, and so don't forget to subscribe. And yeah, but yeah, if you have any questions, any ideas, if you'd like to give this a try as well, just let me know. I think by condensing this into a desktop application, it's going to be far quicker and more efficient than running it as an entire web server on your local machine. So a desktop application, you install it, you download it, you install it, you run it, and it just starts hooking in all over the place. What I do want to do is be able to start a new session from within Claude Connect. You choose the folder where you want to go, and then it starts up a new tab in a new session. Reloads existing conversations, perhaps. I do also need to sort out some other things, like how to clear sessions and all of that. I'll be notified when it finishes. So yeah, it is just restarting itself as a build, as a test as well. Memory model, one timer, one hash map, one entry per session, vectored with session, one event listener, 0 JavaScript timers. Good. Das ist gut. Yes, I should have some music with the stream, but I would like some decent music, but if you know where I can get some decent music from for the stream that I can play in the background and not going to get a strike against the video, let me know in the comments below. Thanks. Okay, let's go ahead, still busy with things. Yeah, so top right now, there's clear and completed tasks. Maybe it should be up there. So click on the task, one shared backend, Tokyo, task at 1 Hertz, checks every session's activity age, time transitions, emits CC session activity. Session ID is live. Have state gains previous by state hash map front-end events created, started, completed, still in progress. Total 41 seconds live. They've finished. It would be cool to see how long it's been running. I wish look at that. And the session ID and folder as well. When the back gets redacted. And maybe what you should. So I've got a task that's running. Top right, you've got our task list. The task is busy running. In the middle, we've got the Claude responses or messages back to us. Should we display something there to say that Claude is still busy with tasks? Or are you happy to have a look at top right? Okay, so there we've got something that's come back. Tasks, is that computer? No, thinking, mulling. Crunched. Okay, done. Single 1 Hertz, blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's test it. So, jokes. Call that. Tell me a joke. But today, told me a very short poem. There we go at the very bottom. Session is live in another terminal, and then it disappeared. I tested this with a jokes session. What happened was I said inside of Claude Code, told me a very short poem. It then went and told me a short poem. I saw the message appear saying that the session is currently in use. And then as soon as it told me the poem, that message disappeared. I still have the session open inside of CMD. CMD. I don't know how it can tell if the session is still open and busy, actually. Maybe we just need to say to the user that it needs to be shut down and kill code. We'll just warn them or something like that. Because we know there's going to be a process inside of task list that says code is active. But can you pick up parameters to know that it's linked to a certain folder? Then we've got to monitor other applications that are running on the system. I don't think I really like that very much. That's the activity. Here's the flow called out. Jason L writes stop. The moment Claude finishes responding, so idle gets embedded. To get a truly accurate state, we need to detect the actual Claude process running. That's what I said. Nothing fair from file activity. Plan use the sysinfo crate to enumerate the process of the session is live. Okay. Can we determine whether that process is running in a particular folder? Or linked to a particular folder? So there's some agents there.
Something that I'm just saying this. I don't want it. That's not me. I see.
Yes, that's exactly the mechanism. Caveat, that's already in the spec on some Windows configurations. Plus the third filters like Claude running in jobs match the join session as live. Claude running in that matches other sessions, not joins. A user has two terminals open in the same project, still just live, one match is enough. All right, it's busy referred at the moment. So I don't need to say, get that done. Okay. I do need to slow that animation down in the background, and I think I need to darken it as well. And also allow different backgrounds to be used, whether it's a static color or, allow you to color select a color background for that, maybe set themes in it. I don't know. Let's have a look where it goes. What would be nice is if people like this and use it. I have had two people respond on X.com on Twitter about doing something like this, and I think it's a brilliant idea. Or at least that timeline at the bottom with markers. Okay, so it's still busy. Conclusions. Maybe what you can also do is add in settings, so to auto clear anything that has been completed. Settings, database, story. Database size 107 meg, 112 sessions, 51,000 messages, 8,000 markers. Oldest 1 month ago, newest 1 minute ago. Retentions, so keep history for unemployed more than 50 bills. Clean up now. Deleted 968 messages and 171 markers. DB now 107. megabytes. Okay. Current data will rebuild in 10 to 15 seconds. Let's expect a shutdown. Well, but let's add a note in the meanwhile. So which would be pretty nice. Let's just slow this down a little bit. More speed. Fast. Is for these tasks that have been completed in the top right-hand side to automatically clear them after X number of seconds. So after maybe 60 seconds or 30 seconds or 15 seconds, once those tasks have been completed, just get rid of them, shift them. Has the rebuild happened?
Is there everything back?
Their computer.
It's happening, right?
For those of you who are still here, the plan is part of this is to be able to click the task to move it into the chat. So here we've got task list, drag to reorganize. I'm essentially notes list. Notes. Drag to reorganize. And this is also notes.
You're understanding how this.
And notes as well.
I have a person.
So allow me to actually click one of these to send it into Claude Code into the chat on the left-hand side, and then that submits it as a task. So you don't even need to type it. You just execute your notes. Well, yes, already been done. Okay, so there's good jokes. Let's tell me another joke. Home. That comes up. We see the message at the bottom. Let's exit out of that session. Yeah, just yes. Tell me a limerick.
I am out session.
I went onto the jokes tab and session. I did close it down in CMD. The message disappeared instantly. That's fantastic. I typed a message in to send Claude inside of Claude Connect, and it didn't do anything. It still said session is live and active, but it was closed down. That was quite a quick dictation or transcription. 392 milliseconds for that. 27 seconds of speech. That's quite nice. And this is using English, small English. So for 500 megabytes, half a gigabyte of the CRISPR engine. It actually worked quite well.
Sorry, what guys talking to you?
Okay, two issues to diagnose.
I put it on.
Task is not the best way.
What else, sorry? I'll change it. Prediction to the there's the deck of the London University, so if you're in the revenue. There, you hurry around the run, you also there's better years, as the years old, we have been very close.
Okay, so when I swap between tabs, it takes a long time to scroll down. It just says here the swapping between tabs seems to take ages to get back to where it was. It must return to a message from the user that was previously active. Okay. Its markers seem to be
how it happens. File. So what is everything rare?
So fast changes haven't happened in a while. But expect to go to 15 minutes. Doesn't seem to be there. Okay. Where did this say? Here shows the check what happened. First looking at Atari dev processes. Well funded, rejecting our spawn. Our send prompt has output format string JSON for no good reason. We discard standard out anyway. Removing and fixes the spawn also needs to surface errors like this to user instead of only tracing the log. Also needs surface errors like this to the user instead of only the tracing log. Then I start up Claude. I know the answer anyway. Continue. So our question was going to be, if I start up Claude again in this terminal here, will it start up a new session inside of this? What did you say? So will it start up a new session on the left-hand side, or will it continue from the existing one? It will continue if I use // continue, or I think C. So then it will continue in the same session. But what happened here? Okay, what's fixed? Okay, it's fixed. Let's try again. Tell me a joke. Tell me a trick. I still say slide. Tell me a limerick. Tell me a limerick. Tell me a memory. See what comes out of this. Then send a message. When I send a message using Claude Connect, it now works, but I do get something saying system is live in another terminal. Is this because you spawn off a Claude session that acts and does something? So it automatically detects and then displays a message. Is that why? And what can you do to fix it? You should tell me a memory. Memory set. Okay, so this is a memory from Claude code itself. Interesting. Yes, that's actually the bug. The filter is supposed to recognize this is Claude Connect's own send from spawn, not the user's terminal isn't matching. Let me look at the actual command line. Look on Windows when you spawn. Okay, so it does realize it's a bug. So a couple of things. Multi-line on my message to Claude. Oh, this is painful. Where are my notes? Or okay, they're on stream if they have gone missing. Notes. Yeah, looks like it might have fixed it. Let's test that first. Tell me a limerick. There goes there. Why is it not selected? When I send a message, shouldn't it select my message with the yellow border and the associated ones on the right-hand side to animate them?
But not because we don't really lyric in simulation sounds as outlined. So we would each of the how on our there elements saying that directly but there are about saying this bad.
Okay, good catch. Yes, the newly sent prompt should auto highlight, just like clicking it would. The center currently just appends to the new message. No active turn promotion. Glad it realized that it's active turn, so nothing flashes or scrolls to it. Fix. There we go. Where are my notes? Man.
But actually, on here, I don't.
The agent dispatch fixed Windows command line filter and mode detect. Jump to the chat.
Sounds out. Like he's out.
What happens? Find notes. It's not touch in the last few days, actually, other than typing in notes because I want that in a specific format.
Why is she fighting there? I think there's any sinister impressions of best operations. All everything is
Okay, agent dispatched, building the auto highlight. Good. This is filling up. What's that? That is a agent introduction. Recorder auto highlight and something redacted there. So that folder there is C users names my name. The nodes are saved, 16 still in database, a couple of possible explanations for what you're seeing or not seeing. Current SysNet has no notes attached to it. How are we going to do the notes? We're going to attach it to a session, a folder. Don't think you can really attach it to a project, but I know it's not there. I have the Claude Connect session open. That is where the notes were, and now they're not there. Tell me why. Yeah, let's get that done first. Let's get this tested. Okay, so tell me a joke. Time to commit button. Need to press enter. Tell me a joke. Okay, that highlights. But then that resets. Why? Tell me a poem. That highlights. My message highlights. And then it leaves. Okay. Oh, just screwed. I think we need to make notes linked to a folder. What's your thoughts on linking notes to the folder in which Claude was executed rather than the session? I do think we should be going that route. Let's see what I might have missed in terms of that thought. So one other thing that we're not really doing inside of Coding is we've got all of these commands like clear. At the moment, you're just doing many continues. Is that the right way of doing things? So you might get power users who actually have 10, 15 Claude Code sessions open, 10, 16 Claude Code sessions open, where they just go through and they get stuff done. This is really great for a single project. Maybe this is really good for people who are new to vibe coding, who want to see everything coming back. Rather than mounting or launching 16 sessions and doing different things in each one of those. This design that I built here isn't really great for seeing multiple sessions open at the same time, unless you can actually just have sessions side by side, but you will need the space on your screen to actually get that done. Okay, we'll do that way. Notes are keyed by folder, not by session. So then why are my notes not showing for the Claude Connect project?
Any thought and other thoughts like the hard sectors of
I wonder. Yeah, there's auto care is something you need as well.
I'll definitely try to do that.
I do want to add another note for inside of the joke session. When you send a message, it highlights it and then that highlight means it jumps up. Maybe this is more important. Too much history, actually.
I found it. Well, I was going to read on the super.
Oh, but that does this good. 21:25, 2 hours ago. Every single board message for the last 2 hours is in this chat. Head back inbox confirmed 16 notes later, 10 prompts preloaded. Dart side is healthy. The bug has to be in the front end, either that or that. Inherit and dev tools. Okay. No. Why don't you give me the option to copy this? Okay, paste this. Copy. Okay, console. Copy. Next. Don't copy paste code into div console. I don't hear allow pasting. Should do. Hopefully that helps the word. Very good. Okay, so we're still getting wrapping issues around this.
So after the very change composition, you have to let the person so this collection like I has to that information or like one contact in the something you can they wait to stay and redeem.
So backend loop confirmed, 16 nodes loaded, Dart side is healthy, so Dart is there, the bug has to be in the front end. Either active session ID doesn't point at the Claude Connect session, or its project path on the back. Your active sessions project path is the Rust subdirectory the agent's been running, but your nodes were saved with this folder, project root. Strict equality fails, no match, no node shown. Why was that session restarted? Why is this a remotion folder? Okay, anyway. Oh, that's HyperVoice. Source Tari. How did this change? It looks as though the folder was changed. I didn't change it to the SRC Tari folder. Did you do that? I don't know how it changed. What are you doing? That confirms bug is called torture path got overwritten to a deeper subdirectory because my own cargo check spawns ran from there. Here are actually 2 bugs. Okay. Pick up the bugs and fix them. Front-end matches notes by exact equality. Even if we fix one, real users will sometimes have Claude code running in a subdirectory of their project root, CDN source, run Claude, etc. Nodes belonging to the project tree, not a specific path. I'll fix both. Okay. Okay, good. That's done. Jokes. Tell me a joke. I have just gone to the jokes session. I have asked Claude I have just gone to the jokes session tab inside of Claude Connect. I have spoken to it. I've sent a message. It initially highlights the latest message. However, after the response gets displayed, the selected item then changes. Why? Tell me a joke.
So maybe yours. You assume to when you look at the second the oceans, so jump that bigger dark then. Version of just they are these are what are right.
Okay, just come back to Claude Connect quickly. And changing tabs. Swapping between tabs. That's already been added.
Right, all right, all right. Right now, nothing. Everything clear. You often. Everything are leaders. I can. There they. Room the general secure. But he's probably in sharing the lives of the crowd. He was learned being innocent and being true and swearing cash is like with her son. Once and everybody else. Once, Berlin. Officer in Paris. So it was a good person. Takes a child and the rest of the rails. I said, right, I think it's
So at the moment, I've built Claude Connect. I don't know where the files sit and how many files there are in the project. I built this completely blind from a brand new empty folder. I ran Claude code, told it what I wanted to do, and it built things. I can't run or don't really want to run multiple sessions inside of PowerShell. So for example, like that. I don't want to run multiple sessions because if I tell the one session to do something, I tell another session to do something, are they going to access the same files? I don't know. Whereas if I get things to be done like this, it just sorts it out. So then the question is talking about queuing things. So what I want to do is I've got my notes on, used to be a header up here. Oh, it's spread. So I've got my notes on the bottom right. I want to press a button to populate the message to send to Claude on the bottom left. And then that's going to execute directly without me having to say anything or type anything. I just add my notes. Maybe what I should do is just have a play button. Yeah. No, still needs to do testing. So I have a play button to actually go through each one of them, test it, positive and negative testing, and then move on to the next one once it's confirmed. I don't know about that yet. Fixed once, let me know in the comments below. Send use prompt. Just at the tab. Okay, so it says fixed. Tell me a limerick. Tell me the okay. I need a better mic. Tell me a joke.
So I can learn to sort of solve this in my learning.
It looks like it's working. Now, Mike, what I do want to do very quickly.
Worldwide, wide, life that you know I've been working on paying it was amazing for that is important and the guy with mountain or function razor what other working with Mr. Hyper vision that you big around which is rated and the extra documents all the time and why they look at the door as it not very in aware of all like that they both has for the one and by the lady.
Update to changelog and push to GitHub. Okay, let's just get this stored first. Jokes. So if I come into jokes there, continue, there is in the bottom left, session incident live in another terminal. Exit, gone. Displayed. Yeah. I defined. Okay, cool. Let's test. What do you do? Oh yeah, push it. So updates in the changelog and then push go through to GitHub. Okay. Oh, okay. Play button. Okay, let's raise the list to be done. What I'll then do, is I will command it to jokes. Tell me a joke. Tell me a limerick. Tell me a poem. Tell me a haiku. Tell me another joke. Okay. Now what I want to do is when I have a play button that then takes it from my task list and populates the message through to Claude and sends it. I don't think so. But I do want to make one change to sending message to Claude to begin with. So I want it to be able to have multiple lines. So as you are typing, there. As you are typing, I want you to actually go down, not across. And it must automatically expand. And I do need to support drag and drops because quite often I actually take screenshots and then drag the screenshot into Claude Code so I can actually reference it. You do also need to support the apps as well. So I think those are the only things I'm actually going to get done tonight. And then I'll see what we need to do after that. Good, because noise, walking, red things and like that. Okay, send through to Git, changelog. I do want this to look better. Not now, later. I understand all of it. Yeah, it's unfair. It means maybe I don't have to be something or something like I'm fine about it. And tell your something still having your bad something. I want you to vastly improve how the changelog looks. So when I click on the changelog button up in the nav bar and the mode appears, I want that to be vastly better than it is right now. That changelog is a separate file. That should be fine. Okay, what are we doing? We done it here. So much, yes. Where's dogs? Is renamed this to changelog. We should log it. We can be right. And neither who doesn't want to make this right. Okay, so Claude connect is done. What the yeah. What I now want you to do is for my notes. At the moment, we've got a delete and an edit button. I want to add a play button below the delete button. What that then does is it must take the message from the notes and populate the send a message to Claude with the content of that note. Do you have any questions? I'm hoping that this changelog doesn't affect anything else. Changelog tears. Read. Notes are still here. Okay, let me redesign what's new TSX. I don't want you to rebuild. Okay, when you use the click play button, what should happen to the input bar? How does this work? Oh, when you use the click play button, what should happen to the input bar? Just populate user reviews and press enter. Save us, see the prompt. Auto send immediately. When click, the prompt is gone. Risky if the note has typos. When you use the click the play button, I want you to leave the note in the notes, but just populate send a message to Claude with the text from that, but do not send it to Claude. Just populate it. Okay, after the play click, what happens to the notes itself? Leave it as it is. Mark it as complete. After Claude responds, I want to add another state. I want to add another state. At the moment, we have not started and completed. I want to have another state for in progress. So as the user clicks on it, every time he clicks on it, it iterates through the states. So if they click on it the first time, it goes to in progress. If they click on it again, it goes to completed. If they click on it again, it goes to not yet actioned. If there's already text in the center bar, when place click, watch tab and replace the pen to it. Okay. So how are we going to handle that? Sometimes responds with a set of questions. How do we sometimes do that? Whether or detection and that's about another version of the baby that are in margins and the other that and I don't know with the husband should go to that but should learn and does it need to be rebuilt? Pick on the bell. What bell? Search box. Or need at least be rebuilt. Does this require a rebuild of the application? Let me know. Do not do it though. No. Okay, dispatch some building, place date, let's click complete. Yes, the rebuild is required. Run that, run that. Did you rebuild? I hope not. Change log.
What shade do you want to there?
Yeah, this. I don't know why I'm not focusing on that right now. I think because I want to actually do it through the notes and send it. Why does this have a horizontal scroll bar? Text up above, maybe. Yeah. Let's get rid of that. Dispatch building, I'll be notified when it's done. Play button still not there. Okay, so still busy. Give 4 seconds. 1 minute, 2 seconds, so that time doesn't count up.
I don't the band can't be. Yeah.
Okay, but it's busy. Okay, so what I'm going to do to test this out with is I actually just want to test them out in, let's say, use a column. Here is a horizontal scroll bar. And there shouldn't be one there. Okay, so we'll test it with that. You use a column, there's a horizontal scroll bar, and there shouldn't be one there. I do see the play button, but I don't want to press it yet. Still busy doing things here.
involved in my she loves companies with learning invention implementation of others and involves in those physical development of this way.
Are you still busy? You are still busy, but on board code, all you see is I'll be notified when it's done. Okay, there, that's done. Clear completed. Should be done. And then it should, once Tari rebuilds, I presume you're going to restart. Do you need to restart the application? I was thinking with high, but no, okay. So here's a column on the left-hand side, has a horizontal scroll bar. I don't want it there. I will click play, enter. But this is still running. Speed.
All I was needed to learn this experience. Fire of you are in your mindset. Invasion.
Okay, enter.
Started. Right seed. Yeah, no, wait. The putter's slow. I'm going to technical spark all the crap. I don't need it, but it's like we're right back into the boss where we right in. Right, this okay. I know I'm not one the game. But the other one,
Yes, we click, busy, click done. Okay, so there's three statuses up here. We're testing on jokes, actually. Continue that. Open it. Okay, so tell me a joke. Enter. Tell me a haiku. Enter.
Egypt. Or the admired and with Lord.
But you work, but Claude Connect doesn't. Why? Looks like someone's actually scrolling through it.
Stay on right. Yeah, it's third different. Okay.
Fair. Fair. I have tested the play button with the jokes session and it works well. However, when I try and use it for the Claude Connect session, it doesn't seem to work. Why? Oh, no, it does work.
And one, in answer to that.
It was my question.
Well, then, we've been made family account who did the purple. Oh. Well, then, we were told by moving the baptism. I'm going to be off with it. That's very often.
I just trying to get this working. It does work in charts. Yeah. But it didn't mark it. I've said that don't mark this continuous. Okay, tell me a poem. Play. I think settings should have a button to automatically send it as well. To automatically press enter. Doesn't work in a few different things. When I click on the play button, the message gets put into send a message to Claude. I press enter in that text box, but that message doesn't come up as one of my messages. It has to actually see what message this refers to. Okay, like it's yours, Claude Coding session is live in this terminal right now. I'm running it as we speak. So Claude resume from Zoom is contending with me. This can the actual Tari logs for what's happening when you press enter. Find the actual error in the logs. Good. Done conversation. Found the session ID. Claude can't find the session because you're spawning it with the wrong CWD. But our SQL light is the wrong corrupted CWD. Claude plagiarized on that. There, returns no conversation. Good the actual JSON. How location and fixed parity. Okay. So there was that bug where it actually put it through to the source Tauri folder. So hopefully, how do we check details about a session? Like the folder that it's in, all of that. I need to jump to a specific day. Okay. I do. I do actually for now want to just hide file rights and a few other things from Claude's responses because a lot of them I'm not really interested in right now. So that hide all of those. Hide that for now. Yeah, that's right. The testing set terminal. And I've just repaired that row. Yeah, and it's the exit pass. Yeah, halt. Yeah, enter. Here's a column. There's a horizontal scroll bar, and there shouldn't be one there. Thinking. Right. And yeah, searching. The search results came through. File reads, results, error. Code requested permissions to write to that, but you haven't granted it yet. Okay. Check the latest logs. I got a permissions error. Investigates and everything. When I do run Claude, I do run it with dangerously skip permissions. Are we able to? I don't really say that. I don't want to do it on. Because on the workplace, you shouldn't be running it with dangerously skip permissions. At home, obviously a different thing, but at work, no. So this fixes one line change, but my edit was denied permission. And then again, if we do run this in auto and it does request permissions for things, how does that work in here? So when we do run Claude from within Claude Connect, and we run in auto mode, how should Claude Connect handle requests for permissions. Also, how does Claude Connect manage in Claude Code pass a series of questions where you can select the answers in that terminal.
I don't know this.
They haven't told me anything actually. See, maybe what you should also do is just want to add dots. So for the polls or Claude code responses. Why am I not speaking this? Have an options in the settings to either display the poll if we are displaying polls, or display small dots associated with each color. Where if you do mouse over it, it tells you that it was a search or shell command, but that would just reduce the height used up by all of those polls. We display polls at times, and if we do display polls, I want the option inside of the settings to be able to collapse those polls into just small colored dots associated with the color of the poll. This will just reduce the height used by many polls. Okay. So what did you do? This cache summary terminal is running with that. So no dangerous mode is active. Terminal. So the permissions branch was unexpected. There's nothing in the configured permissions or hooks that should have surfaced at given changes. Active. Most likely explanation, chance of erase in Claude Code's permission. It went through this time. Okay, but it did go through because you ran it. So the user's column scroll container now has an overflow. I want you to update the changelog and push to GitHub. Okay. So now when I run a command from inside of Claude Connect, will it work? Or does Claude Connect need to be running as administrator?
And then it all that all that is sections that not in between
Yeah, I don't need it. Okay, the mechanism is just spawning a normal user process, no privileged operations, Claude resume. Okay. Anything Claude can do, a normal user account can do, what stems with a stems works as a CWD plus live session check with privilege. Verified works. Pickup session is not currently active in the terminal. Directions you could cancel. Okay. Jokes is exited. Jokes. I want you to create a Python script that returns a joke. I then want you to run it and return the result of the joke. Yeah. There and there. Here we go. Claude is thinking. So this is now going to write on a file, execute the file. Yeah. This is from the joke session. I asked it to create a Python script that returns a joke. I then wanted it to run it and return the results of the joke. This was the error back from forward. Investigate. An agent permission could approve the right so I can create that. The session is closed, so I can't. As expected, a real bug in the send prompt spawned Claude resume. Runs a print mode with no interactive UI to grant permissions, but it still defaults to asking for them when it wants to write a file or a dash. Since there are no UIs confirmed, the request gets serviced as an error, and to note, fix past dangerously. That's what we said. Okay. Play, enter. There we go. Thinking. Writing. Doing something. I got some more errors from the jokes. Can you investigate yourself and have a look and let me know what the issue is? No such file directory. Python can't open that. Wait, created a Python and why is there an error? It did eventually create it though. Maybe this error is. Okay, D. Jokes. Joke.py is there. Which folder are we running this from? D jokes. So it did actually create it. And settings. Errors. I noticed that it does self-correct so many times. That these errors are not actually needed. Okay, multi-line for the Claude Code responses. When you run user column, there's a horizontal scroll bar that's actually been fixed. Claude sometimes responds with a set of questions. How much data? Sorting between tabs, we'll get there. Words are clearing, notes. Or chat pane, there's a horizontal scroll bar that's been fixed. In the user messages, when you send a message to Claude and the text gets too long, I do not want it to carry on going to the right. I want it to wrap, and then the actual text box increases in height. Okay, let's try that. Play, enter. Let's get rid of that. Thinking. And that's the end of the stream, ladies and gentlemen. You've hit your limit. 1:30 a.m. resets. It's an hour and 22 minutes. So I guess we will only be able to test this later on. Thank you for watching. Have a lovely evening or day. And yeah, please subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment. And let me know what you think. Thanks so far. to get any ideas or what you'd like to see. Thanks and have a great day.